Hey, if you watch our videos, you know that I've already beaten the 2023 Gen 4 champion with a Weezing team. What more is there for Weezing to accomplish in life? Well, I wanted to keep experimenting and see what else Weezing could do, so I tested it out with Stall, and I ran into someone pretty notable, Big Will. Who is Big Will? Well, they're pretty damn good at Gen 4. Currently, they are a rising star for Gen 4, meaning they're recognized by people to be great at the game. And even more importantly, they've represented the winning team in this year's Ruins of Alph tournament, and they were on the running up team for the Gen 4 Premier League tournament. There's no dispute that they are great at this game. They should be cooking like 95% of people. Few can stand up to them. This video wouldn't be happening if they were unbeatable though, so today I'll show you how my Weezing Stall team made its mark against a Gen 4 Rising Star. So first I'll go through the team, what its purpose is, and what the different Pokemon do. If you're not interested in that though, that's okay. You can skip to the battle chapter and see what I did, why I did it. For assaulting, I like to lead with either Hippowdon or Tyranitar to get Sandstorm activated immediately. This time I went with Tyranitar because dealing with Rotom, Starmie, and Latias is really annoying. Tyranitar being able to deal with that is pretty huge, so it makes sense to run it on this team. To answer the fighting types that Tyranitar invites in though is Weezing, where it makes its debut with a defensive Will-O-Wisp set. Sludge Bomb and Hidden Power Fighting give pretty good overall coverage. And its annoying traits with Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split lets it handle most physical attackers alongside the other defensive walls on the team. Fortress is one of those additional physical walls, as well as a hazard stacker and remover. Fortress is pretty notoriously difficult to fit on stall teams due to the necessity that you have to stack secondary physical walls, but this team really needs Fortress, and Weezing makes up for a lot of Fortress's inconsistencies with its Earthquake immunity and fighting resistance. Fortress can fight the Hazard War better than any other Pokemon, with Spike, Stealth Rock, and Rapid Spin. And Earthquake is the attacking move of choice, which is a bit different. You see something like Rest or Gyro Ball, but Earthquake is specifically there to deal with Agility Metagross and Dragon Nest Tyranitar. As anything else, Weezing deals with pretty easy. The last physical wall is a mixed defensive Rotom, who acts kind of like a second Weezing. Weezing will be used throughout the game to wall out stuff and be annoying, and once it's finally being killed or the opposing Tyranitar is being burnt, then Rotom can pop off pretty unimposed. Rest is chosen over Pain Split because we'll of course be running Clefable with Heal Bell, a staple of any stall team, and Clefable is kind of running this typical bullshit. Heal Bell over Thunderwave. Thunderwave is more popular, but since we're going to be playing the long game, we'll need to deal with status, and Heal Bell does that. Knockoff is essential, and it's especially defensive to help deal with threats like Latias and Zapdos. And finally, we have Nidoqueen, who acts as a secondary special wall, as well as a Toxic Spikes user. Toxic Spikes are pretty situational and not always useful, but against opposing stall and bulky offense teams with Swampert and Hippowdon, it's necessary. We need it. Having it alongside Clef helps to alleviate some of the pressure too, as I can switch between them as pivots to avoid getting predictable. So that's all well and good. I'm starting off the game. Unfortunately, a Jirachi lead really doesn't tell us anything about the team we're facing. Could be offense, could be balance, stall, could be anything. But one of those things for sure is that Tyranitar has no fucking business staying in on it. So I gotta switch. Options for switching is mostly going to be Weezing, Rotom, and Fortress, and each have their own issues. Rotom can get pursued immediately, Jirachi can be packing U-turn or Fire Punch if it has U-turn, or Heatran on the team, then I get nothing out of Weezing. So, best overall play is to go Fortress. My bulk will be good enough to get a Fire Punch if I need to, and that's what I end up setting on. Turns out it pays off as I get hazards up early, which is great. They reveal Zapdos, and I decide on going Clef to start knocking early, as if they have a Clefable, I want to beat it to the knockoff. And Nidoqueen doesn't immediately help me if I'm not facing a specific type of team like Clefable does, so Clefable is just overall safer in the start of a game, and we end up catching Swampert with a knockoff, which is huge. From here I don't want to waste soft boils, and I don't want to risk getting Pursuit Trap with Rotom, so Weezing comes in to absorb the Earthquake and threaten Will-O-Wisp. Starmie ends up taking it. And at this point, I get the vibe I'm running into a bulky offense team. Meaning that, Zapdos is defensive, Swampert is mixed with bulk and attack. They probably have a Swords Dance user or a Dragon Dance user in the back. My guess is immediately going to be Gyarados, Scizor. And they probably have a Choice Scarf in the back too, and, you know, maybe Flygon, Latias, potentially a Trapper like Magnezone or Tyranitar. But essentially what I've learned from these first couple turns is that I need to be careful with my Rotom until their Scarfer has been revealed, because if it's Tyranitar, I'm boned. So that means Weezing's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting early on and do the bulk of the defensive walling, which is fine. With Starmie, I want to scout it out with Clefable to avoid getting Tyranitar Thunder Waved immediately or Hydro Pumped right off the bat, so pivot on Clefable, then bait them into a bad Rapid Spin, and, you know, Tyranitar's got that Pursuit, easy money. I find out their wall breaker is Scizor, and Weezing's on it, so looking pretty good so far. Will-O-Wisp on anything on their team makes progress, so literally no sense in not going for it. And even if they're Lumberry, you know, I live a +2 Bullet Punch, and I can throw off a second Will-O-Wisp, so I'm guaranteed to get something out of this turn, and they know that. Then try to suss out what my Weezing stats are, and I'm sure they find that I'm physically defensive, and I'm right now at risk of folding to a Swords Dance boosted Bullet Punch if they're Lumberry, so that's bad. Unless I make the smart play and Pain Split. It means I get to do some damage, gain enough health to burn them, and then Rotom can come in after and safely beat it down. I don't know if they saw that line of logic, or if they were scared of Flamethrower or whatever, but they switch out and Zapdos once again. At this point, the thing I'm most scared of is Scarf Tyranitar, so getting Toxic Spikes up is a priority. I'll eventually break it down with Spikes, Support, and Stealth Rock and whatever, so makes sense to just get them up. Fuck around with swapping Pokemon in and out for a bit until eventually they're forced to roost, at which point Clefable knockoff is just looking great again. Normally, wouldn't benefit me because I've already knocked off the Swampert, but with Toxic Spikes up now, if they switch Swampert in, it's immediately boned. I can't deal with poison in the long game, so get something out of it. Either they let Swampert die slowly or something else on their team loses an item, and it ends up being Scizor. Perfect. Weezing looks even more annoying now, and I can pretty much infinitely switch between Weezing and Clefable as Fortress has already removed hazards. Feels great, and with their current lineup, they have literally nothing to break Weezing plus Clefable. They either have to sacrifice a Pokemon, or reveal their last. So try and mess around with Clefable for a bit until Zapdos falls into low health. And I see their plan here. They're trying to force Weezing to Pain Split on a weakened Zapdos, and this is what do its thing unopposed, but they were a bit too obvious with it. I saw through it and hit a well-predicted Sludge Bomb. Perfect. Their next goal is going to be trying to break down my core with Jirachi, but Fortress is absolutely capable of dealing with that. and they finally tried to break the deadlock with their final Pokemon, Magneton. Fortunately for me, Magneton is, in my opinion, pretty ass. I know that it's Choice Scarf. I'm pretty confident that it's Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, Thunder Wave, and Flash Cannon. It's probably not Hidden Power Fire, so I'm free to just Earthquake it and kill it. Train 1-for-1 while I'm up? Yeah, I'll take that. And my Rotom is now free to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. May as well keep around Weezing until it faints, so after letting Fortress go down, I mess around a bit with Swampert, and then let Clefable come back in to manage the rest. If Jirachi loses its leftover, it's pretty much game. All I have to do now is not allow Scizor to Swords Dance while avoid getting burned, so Nidoqueen is going to shift itself into the role of fighting Jirachi so Weezing can maintain its health for Scizor. I'm at just enough health to survive a +2 Bullet Punch and clap back with Will-O-Wisp, so as long as nothing goes horribly wrong, we'll be in great shape. When Swampert takes damage from Poison and Earth Power, I know Nidoqueen is going to be able to kill it in a 1v1, so I let her do her thing. And even at 45%, Weezing is still bulky enough to take a Swords Dance boosted Bullet Punch, so comes in to do his last job, he does it. Big Will knows it's game, set, match, and forfeits. Overall, pretty good game. And it's a pretty good example of why Weezing is usable. Sure, there's a lot of really good defensive walls, like Skarmory, Bronzong, all that, but you saw in that situation, Weezing had its thing. Can't be trapped by Magnezone or Magneton, and that's pretty huge. Stall teams can appreciate its talents, and even when there's no fighting types for Weezing to battle, it still has utility. That and it fits itself very nicely on this team in particular. It actually complemented a lot of the members very well, so it's always great to see underused Pokemon putting in work and overuse. Appreciate you watching. Check out the other Weezing video if you're a fan, and peace. Thanks.